So if you've just been traveling or sitting for a long period of time, this one's going to be for you. You don't need any equipment. Let's get started. So standing at the end of your mat, finding yourself a space that you can comfortably move from. We're just going to bring the feet hip width apart, slight bend in the knees, and then just start by bringing the chin down towards the chest, sending the head over, creating a nice C shape with the body, just feeling each vertebrae as we bend all the way forward. You can bring your elbows into your hands and just take a nice gentle sway from side to side, just feeling through the back of the body. And then you might just want to nod your head a couple of times, shake it side to side. We hold a lot of tension in the back of our neck here, so this will feel quite nice. And then just bringing the hands down onto the floor or onto the front of your shins. And then we're just going to pedal through those legs. So straightening through one, bending through the other, and just feeling how the body feels. You might find you're tighter in one side or the other. Now from here, we're going to keep our right leg straight and bend our left knee. Then we're going to rotate with our left hand up towards the ceiling. Then coming back through the middle, swapping our legs over, rotating to the other side. Good. So left leg straight, left hand up towards the ceiling, coming back through the middle, straightening that right leg, right hand rotating up towards the roof. And then coming back to the center here, finding a straight leg through both legs, and then walking those hands all the way out into our plank position. So from here, we're just going to lower the chest down towards the floor and then come into your cobra pose. So you can untuck the toes there, lifting still through the middle of the body. So not dumping through that lower back, thinking length through our spine. Then tuck the toes back under, send your hips back, finding our nice downward dog position here. So you might want to just walk through your heels, feeling that nice little calf stretch. And really trying to send those shoulders back towards your knees. If you need to take a slight bend through the knees to really feel the stretch in the shoulders, then that's totally fine. Otherwise, try and keep those legs straight, really drawing the heels down towards the ground. One more breath here. And then we're going to come forward into our plank position. Then we're going to start with our left leg. So we're going to step that left foot up onto the outside of our left hand. And then that back knee is just going to drop, or right knee is going to drop down onto the floor. So we're going to come into a nice little half kneeling position. So we're going to first focus on our ankle rocks. So left foot is going to be in front first, heel is going to stay on the ground, and then we're just sending that knee as far forward over our toe, second toe, as possible, keeping that heel still in contact with the floor. So you're just going to rock forward and back. You might feel the muscles around the knee joint working, but also either a stretch through that Achilles or calf area, or a little bit of a stretch in the front of the ankle there. So we're going to aim for about 10 rocks back and forth on our left leg. We're going to go for 4 more. 3. Really trying to keep that heel in contact with the ground. 2. Last one here. Good. Now coming into a hip flexor stretch, still in this same position. So we're going to be stretching our right hip flexor. So first, in this half kneeling position, I want you to think about trying to reach your tailbone through into or towards the end of your mat. Then once you've found that tilt of your pelvis, then shift your hips forward slightly to feel that nice stretch through the right hip flexor. Hold there for a few seconds, and then you're going to come a little bit further back, find that tuck again, and then lean forward into that stretch. Good. So we're going to go one more time here. Find that hip flexor stretch. You can even raise that hand up towards the ceiling to find that nice deep stretch through the rest of that chain. And then from here, we're going to send the hips back. That front heel is going to draw down in towards the ground, and you're going to find your nice hamstring stretch here. So drawing the left toes back towards the left shin. Imagine, or keeping, sorry, the hip bones facing forward. So really trying to draw that sit bone of your left leg backwards so that we're not twisting through the hips. And then rather than aiming for head to knee, I want you to think about belly button to the top of your thigh. So just holding here for a couple more breaths. Good, and then shifting yourself forward once more. We're going to go through that same little combination of stretches. So start by tucking your tailbone under, shift the hips forward, hold for a few seconds, and then come back. Each time finding that tuck or posterior tilt of your pelvis before you shift your hips forward. We're going to go one more time here. And then come all the way back into your hamstring stretch. We're going to hold this here for a few breaths. Two more. Last one here. Now bring yourself back up into this half kneeling position. The hands are going to come back down onto the ground. Tuck your right toe back under and straighten through that right leg. We're going to come into some thread the needles here. So right hand is going to be on the ground, left foot forward, left hand is going to be up towards the ceiling. If you want to, you can bring left hand to your ear. And then from here, we're going to thread that arm through, or elbow reaching for right hand, and then rotate back towards the ceiling. Each time you rotate under, you can let that left knee fall out to the side a little bit more so you're getting that nice stretch through the hip as well. We're going to go for 4 more here. Nice little crack in my back just then. Last 3. 2 and 1. Good, and then place that hand back down onto the ground. You're going to walk that left foot across the mat towards your right hand, and then bring your knee all the way down onto the ground so that you're in your pigeon pose. Untuck that right foot, and you can hear the goal is we want that left shin to be parallel to the end of our mat. And then you can walk your hands forward and just coming down into this nice pigeon pose stretch. We're just going to hold this here for a few breaths. Seeing if you can reach your chest all the way down to the floor. Holding here for 3 more breaths. So inhale through your nose and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last breath here. Good, and then slowly walking those hands back up. You might even want to try and find a little bit of an extension here, so that will feel really nice for that hip flexor as well. Otherwise, popping those hands back down in front, you're going to lift yourself up and out. That left foot is going to wiggle over to the other side of the mat, tuck the right toes under, and then step yourself back into your plank position, and then send your hips up nice and high into your downward dog. And then you might want to just pedal through your feet here. Really trying to reach those shoulders back towards your knees. And then we're going to come over onto the other side. So find your plank position first, then step your right foot onto the outside of your right hand. And then that left knee is going to come down onto the ground. So bringing yourself up into your half kneeling position. We're going to come into your ankle rocks first. So heel stays on the ground, then that knee traveling over second toe, coming forward and back. We're going to go for 10 here. So feeling that nice stretch in the ankle joint. Really focusing on that heel staying on the ground, knee traveling over second toe. We're going to go for 5 more here. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then coming back to your center, coming into our hip flexor stretch. So first finding that tuck under of the tailbone, reaching for the front of your mat, and then shifting your hips forward. Feeling that nice stretch through the left hip flexor. Shift back, keep really encouraging that tuck under, that posterior tilt of your pelvis. Good, one last little press forward here, and then sending yourself all the way back. Find that hamstring stretch, so hip bones facing forward. You might need to bring your sit bone of your right leg backwards to really square up those hips. And then thinking about belly button to the top of your thigh. Holding here. One more breath. Good. And then coming forward again. So one last time through those two. Start tucking the tailbone under. Shift the hips forward. Good. 2 more. If you want to bring that left hand up, really encourage the rest of that stretch. Last shift forward here. And then come all the way back into that hamstring stretch, squaring off through the hips, and then belly button to thigh. Good. Then coming back to the middle. Now tucking the left toes under, bringing that left leg up nice and straight, and then reaching that right hand up towards the ceiling, coming into your thread the needles. So you can either go elbow to hand or using that long extended arm, rotating back and forth. That right knee can fall out to the side. We'll go for 2 more on this right hand side. Last one here. Beautiful. Right hand comes back to the mat. Shuffle that right foot over towards the left, coming into your pigeon pose. So parallel with that front or with the shin of that right leg. And then coming all the way down, feeling that nice stretch. You might just want to stay on your forearms here, otherwise going all the way flat onto the floor. With this one though, better to keep your hips square than try and find the depth and be a little bit more rotated out. If you want to now walk yourself all the way down, we're just going to hold this stretch for a few more breaths. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then walking your hands back. You might want to find that nice little extension here for a second. And then bring that knee up, wiggling that right foot back over to the other side of the mat. And then press yourself back into that plank position and then coming into your downward dog once more. So you should be feeling nice and a little bit longer through the legs and through the hips. Good. Now from here, come into your plank position and then we're just going to drop the knees down onto the ground. So we're going to come into our quadruped position. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. If the weight of being on your hands is a little bit too much for your wrists, you can come down onto your forearms for this one. So I'm going to stay up on my hands. Now we're going to start with your right leg. We're just going to do some quadruped hip circles. So basically we're going to come up as if we were to do a donkey kick. Then that knee is going to come out and around like a fire hydrant and then back down to the starting position. So we're kicking the heel up, knee's going to stay at 90 degrees the whole time. We're just creating some circles with that hip. So kicking back, out and around, trying to maintain the stability through the rest of the body and not to dump all of our weight into that left side or the left glute or left hip. We're going to go for one more after this in this direction. And then we're going to reverse the circle. So we're going to come out to the side first, up and around and down. Thinking about pubis bone towards belly button so that we're not overarching through that lower back. We'll go for one more this way. And then swapping over to the other side. So start by kicking that leg up into your donkey kick and then coming out and around. I got a nice crack with that one. Keeping equal weight through both hands. Not dumping your weight into that right hand side now. We're going to go for two more this direction. The last one here. Then reverse the circle, so coming out like a fire hydrant, up and around. Good. So try and go as slowly as you can through these. Careful not to rush through them. We're going to go for two more. Last one. Good. Now from here, we're going to go with our right leg first. We're just going to extend it out to the side, coming into some adductor rocks. So you're going to stay over your left foot. Right leg's going to come out to the side, and then keeping the hands where they are, we're just going to sink our hips back, reaching them for our heel, and then rocking forward back over our hands. So we're going to go for 10 little rocks here, just back and forth, keeping the toes of your right foot on the ground. So you should be feeling that nice stretch through the inner thigh. We're going to go for 5 more on this side. Last 2. Last one here. Come back so that you're over your hands. Bring that right leg back underneath your hip. We're going to swap straight over onto the other side. So extend that left leg out long, toes in contact with the ground, and then sinking back so that your right sit bone is reaching for your right heel. So just rocking forward and back. And just take note here whether one side of your body feels tighter than the other. Good, that's halfway here. So we're going to go for 5 more. Beautiful, last 3. 2. And 1. Then coming back to the middle here. Now we're just going to bring the knees a little bit wider, and you're going to bring yourself back so that you're in your nice child pose position. So forehead's going to come down to the mat. And then just for a moment here, just sinking into those hips, feeling that stretch. Taking a couple of nice deep inhales. And exhale. Beautiful. And then just walking your hand in towards your body. Just coming up into a seated position. So we're going to come into a little side reach exercise. So you can either sit on your mat cross-legged, or you can sit in a Z sit position. So I'm going to go with a Z sit. So bringing one foot behind you, the other foot is going to be parallel to the side of your mat, and then just bringing your hands out wide. So into a T position, sorry. So finding here, you're then going to tilt your body sideways, find the floor with your left hand, and then come up and over with the right there. So you'll feel a nice stretch through the side of the body, really trying to anchor down through your right sit bone. So both sit bones in contact with the floor. Then we're going to come back up to our T position, and then now tipping over the other way. So you'll be coming over the leg that is bent behind you, and that will create a bit more stretch in your hip, as well as really getting into the side of the body on your left. So basically, this little exercise, we're just moving from one side all the way over to the other. And rather than thinking up and down, like as in when you side bend, reaching down for the ground, I want you to think like you're reaching up and over that hip. So we're really trying to pull that arm to the corner of the room. Good, we're going to go one more either way, then swap our legs on over. Last one here. Even experiment by dropping that front shoulder down. You might feel a little bit more into the lats as well, which might feel quite nice. Last one. Really thinking or imagining like someone is pulling your hand and pulling your arm away from your body out of the socket, and that's really going to help with getting that nice deep stretch through the side of the body. So we're going to swap our legs over now. So our right leg is going to come so it's along the edge of our mat, left leg is back, and then bringing those arms into your T position once more. We're going to start by tipping to the right, hand comes down onto the mat, we come up and over, find that nice stretch through the side of the body, then back through the middle, and then over to the left hand side. So just taking note how it feels with if you were in your Z sit. If one hip feels tighter than the other, or one side of the body feels tighter than the other. My right hip is definitely a lot tighter. Really thinking about reaching out from that hand, nice long arm. You can bring that drop in of the front shoulder, rotate back, and then come back through the middle. One last time either way. Good, last one to the left here. That's it, back to the middle. So from here, just twisting yourself back so that you're long ways on your mat. Just bringing your feet so that they are as wide as the edges of your mat here. Now, we're just going to drop the knees down to the left-hand side. So coming into your 90-90s. This is always such a great one. You can start with your hands on the ground, just dropping those knees from one side to the other. And then if you feel ready, you can come up into your seated position. And sometimes I like to, if one hip feels tighter, I might just sit there and just kind of open and close that one leg. And then go over to the other side. And then open and close the one. And just spending a bit more time on that area that's a bit tighter. So just alternating through these. Might go for 2 more either way. So last one to the right here. Last one to the left. Beautiful. Coming back to the middle, and then just walking yourself all the way down so that you're now lying on your back. And you're just going to bring your arms a little bit wider into a smaller T position. Palms are going to be facing down, and then just step your legs up into tabletop. You're going to bring your knees and your feet together. Now you're going to twist yourself over to the left, really anchoring down through that right hand, knees staying nice and stacked. So you should feel a nice twist through your back. Then as you exhale, use your obliques to draw yourself back to the middle, and then come all the way over to the right. So you can have a look down at your knees, and we want to make sure that that top knee is over that bottom knee. So that means that this nice rotation is coming from our spine and not from our pelvis. Good. We're going to go for 1 more either way. Last one to the left here. Beautiful. Last one to the right. Back to the center, and then stepping your legs on down. Lovely. And then just bring your hands down by your side, and then just taking a moment to really feel how the body feels now compared to the start of the session. You should feel a lot more connected